Good morning, everyone. सभी को नमस्ते and happy World Tourism Day. It's on Saturday, but हम लोग आज वेबिनार उसका कर रहे हैं कंप्लीट और आज हमारे साथ हमारे फॉर्मर चेयरमैन सर, फॉर्मर हॉफ सर, डॉक्टर राजेश भट्टरी सर हमारे साथ हैं जो आज हमें इको टूरिज्म पे थोड़ा हमारा नॉलेज को एक्सपांड करेंगे, इंसाइट्स देंगे. So थोड़ा मैं सर का बैकग्राउंड बताना चाहती हूँ. Then we will start from the presentation. Start with the presentation. Dr. Bhartari sir is a retired Indian Forest Service officer from the 1986 batch. He graduated from the W.A. Frank College of Forestry in the USA, and in 2022 he received a doctorate in Forest and Conservation Sciences from the University of Montana. The title of his dissertation is Reterritorialization and Enclavic Tourism Development: A History of Zoning and its Impact in the Corbett Tiger Reserve Landscape, India.
रिया बस काफी है बाकी मैं बता दूंगा.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. So I'm just playing your presentation. Rest, kindly please mute your Rohit Upadhyay, sir. Rohit Upadhyay, sir. Okay. Just give me a second. मैं आपका presentation open कर देती हूँ.
So good morning everyone. I'm right now speaking from Hyderabad in a forest guest house, and I have to soon go to catch my flight. But thank you so much to the Uttarakhand Biodiversity Board and to Ria for organizing this. And what I'm going to present is work in progress. But I would be sharing my feelings, my thoughts as this moment of at this moment of time when I look back of my nearly 4 decades of engagement with forestry, ecotourism, and tiger conservation. So English is fine.
Yes, sir. It's fine.
So अब हो गया PPT?
Yes, sir. मैं open कर. So is it visible?
हाँ अब visible. ठीक है.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. So regenerative tourism. I myself have become aware of this concept only in the last few months, not even years. And I was working in a village in Jameria for developing a community-based ecotourism project. And this is part of and funded, sponsored by Ramunga River Eco Lodge. And while talking to the villagers, while developing the plan, I realized that we need to go beyond community-based ecotourism, and I will show you why and how. Next, please. So this is a picture from March, and there is a Laldhang village, which was the relocation was completed in 2004. And in 2005, Professor C.R. Babu implemented a project for finding a technique for removing lantana and replacing it with grasses. And I was with this group of Friendship Force from North America. And I have been consistently going into this area because I was very closely involved with that project when the cut root stock method was devised. But this was the first time I was going with tourists, as a tourist, paid my entrance fee, and lo and behold, also spotted a tiger. So one of the tourists saw the look on my face, and she captured the look with the tiger. You can see on the topmost slide on the bottom left portion that a tiger is moving. So this group also went to Dhikala, and on the right side you see in Dhikala zone how a whole wall of tourists in gypsies they formed to get a glimpse of the tiger. Next, please. So, Professor Babu, here you can see this is a fairly old picture from a training workshop when he was telling about grasses to forest staff and officials. On the right side, you see Dr. Parag Dhakate, who's a special secretary in government of Uttarakhand. And not only Professor Babu devised the technique, but we organize. He also motivated me to set up grass nurseries where we grew grass and legumes, and brought out a manual for removal of invasive weeds and habitat restoration. Next, please. So, uh, this is a map of Corbett Tiger Reserve, and it shows how tourism zones have proliferated. The first Bijrani zone was created in 1991, and then in 1996, after the relocation of Dhara, Jhirna, and Kothirao on the southern boundary, Jhirna Tourism Zone was created. Then Durga Devi in 2005, then Sona Nadi, and Dhela was created in 2014. So it has been there in a decade. And in 2018, Pakro, and one zone which is not visible over here, the most recent in 2020 was Garjia. Next, please. So, since the formation of Uttarakhand state, the number of tourism zones has increased in Corbett from 3 to 8. And not only within Corbett Tiger Reserve, but in the larger landscape, there are 5 or 6 more tourism zones. And there's literally a scramble to create more tourism zone. The visitor arrival has increased from a mere 75,000 to over 3 lakhs within the Tiger Reserve, but there are far more tourists outside. And the revenue by park has grown by 23 times. Today, it is more than 23 crores. Corbett today has the highest number of resorts, 170 amongst any tiger reserve. If there were only 7 in 2000, and some estimations were done by GIZ, but I don't have exact figure of what economic changes have taken place through this growth. And we are happy that Corbett today boasts the single largest tiger population and one of the highest tiger densities. Next, please. So soon after the formation of the new state, there was attention given for both community participation, ecotourism, and buffer area development. And a Mahasher conservation project was initiated in Ramganga River. Angling associations were roped in through PPP agreements, and 3 of them set up fishing lodges, and these associations given right to access and authority to protect marsh and issue angling permits, and some model was developed for sharing benefits with the villagers. It went on for 8 years. Next, please. So one of the villages, Vanghat, and there Sumanta Ghosh and Mahasher Conservancy, they set up this Vanghat Lodge, which has been in operation for 2 decades. And it's very popular with bird watchers, wildlife lovers, and people who want to walk and have a more intimate experience. Uh, on the left side, you see a very celebrated authoress bird watcher in Skip. Next, please. So while the project was on, the poaching came to a stop, and anglers started flocking in, and uh, this not only was this protection of aquatic fauna, uh, but by because of the stopping of dynamite, poisoning, and poaching, but the villagers also started getting experience, training, and uh, uh, economic benefits. But all this stopped in 2012. because NTCA determined that angling is a non-ecotourism activity, and it cannot be done within the buffer zone of a tiger reserve. Next, please. Birdwatching camp was held here. Some of you may be familiar. Sanjay Sodhi from Titli Trust, he conducted this in, I think, again in 2012 or 13. And on the right side, you see one of the participants who now functions as a nature guide. Next, please. Even Himothan extended support to through a rural tourism project, and but after 1 year there were problems. In, as I said, in 2012 the whole project came to a stop, and so Himothan support also declined. Next, please. So if we look at Jamria village, Jamria is a gram panchayat, and it includes 5 revenue villages. So in the last 25 years, Marchula has become an important destination. In fact, government of Uttarakhand is promoting Invest Marchula, and from these villages, they are trained nature guides which are registered with Corbett Tiger Reserve. It's amazing. 9 of them function as guides, and in this region, 10 tourist resorts are there. The villagers have been unable to get registration for their gypsies for safari, and the villagers have trained gillies. And one of the villagers from Jamria, he has a tender for mahasher fishing outside the tiger reserve. Now, even an annual Marchula Mahotsav is being celebrated, and all the villages have eco development committees, and Corbett Tiger Reserve has Tiger Conservation Foundation. So if we look at it, if somebody was to look only from a tourism point of view, they would say that yes, so what, there was a setback because of stopping angling, but the villagers have received all these benefits. Next, please. So here you see the green areas are all buffer zone of Corbett Tiger Reserve, and beginning from the right, there's a huge village Sakar, and then Jamria, and on the left bank of the river, then the violet village is Baluli, which is almost like an island. You can see the river covering 80% of the boundary of the village, and the purple one on the left is one ghat. So there are no all the land of the village has been sold to 2 private investors, and one is One Ghat Lodge, which I have already shown, and the other one, Ramanga River Eco Lodge, is being developed over there. And then Badasi is green colored at the extreme end. So again, nobody lives over there, and um, but there's no tourism activity also. Next, please. So this is a Google Map image of Jamria, and it's one of the few mountain villages in Corbett Buffer where there is no resort, no canteen, no tourism activity of any kind, and even the alignment of the houses is like typical mountain villages. And one of the unique things in the village is that the terraces for mountain farming, they are very broad and long, almost like football fields. So very rare to find. Next, please. But if you go in Baluli village, you will find that only 7, 8 families are left, and all of them have migrated. And even the families that live in the village, uh, not all members may be there. Either there's only a male person because of work, or older parents are there, and young people are very difficult to find. And on the right side, you see the agricultural fields. There is no agriculture, and grass grows after monsoon. If you went in this month, this is what you will find. And the village economy is now centered on grass. The villagers cut this grass for fodder for their livestock. They sell the grass, and of course, they share it with all animals. because ungulates come to eat the grass. Baluli is particularly impacted by wild elephants because the village has lots of fruiting trees, jackfruit, lychee, mangoes, and which attract elephants. Next, please. So this is I mentioned that Jamria is the name of both Gram Panchayat as well as a revenue village. And this is the famous Tiwari, the traditional architecture in Jamria with wood carvings. And this whole Tiwari in this house belongs to nine houses, known families. Six of them live in Delhi or otherwise, and they return to the house for festivals and wedding ceremonies, etc. And three of them are still living here. And the good thing is that residents of Jamria, they take pride in their houses, and they maintain their houses well. And so this is an evening view, old ladies just relaxing along the edge of the village, and you can see the Ramganga River from here. Next, please. In Sankar village, also half the population has depleted, and on the left side, top picture on the left is this lady Kamla Devi. And in this region, four women have died in tiger attacks in the last 3-4 years, and Kamla Devi managed to survive, but she has lost one side. And here, the members of Rashnatak Mahila Manch, they had come to present a check donation for treatment to Kamla Devi. And one of the women, the president who's presenting the check, she because I am a retired forest officer, she posed a question to me. She said कि हम घास काटना छोड़ देंगे, हम जंगल भी जाना छोड़ देंगे, पर ये जो हमारी दलहीज पे लेपर्ड और टाइगर आ रहे हैं उनका हम क्या करें? And there is no easy answer to this question. Next, please. See, the point I wanted to make was that Jamria is a good example of what we call Diya Tale Andhera. If you look at Corbett Tiger Reserve, then there has been spectacular tourism growth. Nobody had imagined that such growth could occur, and it's raining money over there. So I think 10,000 rupees per night per room has become kind of norm in the hotels. Some have started charging above 50,000 rupees per room night. And I wouldn't be surprised if during this New Year season, somebody is selling a package of 1 lakh rupee per night. And yet, these are villages within the buffer zone of Corbett Tiger Reserve, where agriculture has stopped, and there is very few options for livelihood. People are just surviving, and they have no option but to keep moving out of the village for their survival. Next, please. So I won't go into this theory, but a little bit I need to mention that power and tourism are very closely related. And according to one model, the visitors, they hardly have any power. Nor does the community. The real um, power is exercised by brokers and government officials, tourism industry, and I must have also been part of this middle layer when I was engaged in tourism development. So they set the stage, they decide what will happen, and they determine which direction the tourism growth will occur. And visitors can become part of community when they develop permanent residence over there. Community members, when they gain experience, can become part of brokers. So this visitors can also become brokers when they start tourism activity. So this interchange can occur, but the real power is wielded by brokers. Next, please. So, sustainable tourism is the current paradigm, and ecotourism also stresses sustainability. But unfortunately, sustainable tourism has been co-opted to support continuous economic growth, endless, and resulting in environmental degradation and increased social inequalities. If you ask NTCA, if you ask the government, they will say that in corporate what is happening is sustainable tourism. But if you look at the land, the river, the forest, the roads, and ask the villagers, you will get a very different. The main point is that efforts merely to decrease or mitigate negative efforts are not sufficient. Something more ambitious is required. Next, please. So, I am trying to experiment with regenerative tourism. I find it is promising and it is radically different from whatever we have done in the past, and maybe it offers a solution. So, in regenerative tourism, tourism activities are interventions to develop and build the capacities of both places and communities, and in harmony with associated logical system. So it's nestled within the socio-ecological paradigm. I have read about it, but I have and maybe practiced also some elements of it. But I think even at a personal level, I need to do more. It follows a systems approach, something when I was a college student doing my BSc, I was fascinated by it. And after 4 decades also, I don't see it much in practice. So regenerative development is not something new. It has been there for decades in literature and projects, and it draws from both Western science, but also merges, amalgamates indigenous perspective, knowledge systems, and practices. And its beauty is that it has transformational potential. Next, please. So, sorry, this slide is repetition. Next, please. So, regenerative tourism is not just about making a positive impact or leaving a place better than it was before. It's about a whole new way of thinking. Next, please. Uh, so, in sustainable tourism, economic dimension is prioritized. In regenerative tourism, social, cultural, environmental, economic, political, spiritual, and ecological elements are all treated as interrelated. The purpose of sustainable tourism is to do a little less harm, whereas the purpose of regenerative tourism is to build communities. Sustainable tourism is led by experts. Regenerative tourism would require community level focus. And in sustainable tourism, private sector and government lead development, whereas in regenerative tourism, hosts and local communities are integral agents of change. Next, please. A more simpler contrast between traditional view and regenerative view is the whole purpose is different. Traditional view is to generate economic wealth, whereas for regenerative view is to create conditions for people and places to thrive. And the nature of tourism is extractive, traditional, and regenerative would aim to give benefit for all. The focus in traditional view is on the visitor and demand side. Regenerative is on the supply side, and tourism is viewed as a standalone sector in traditional view, whereas regenerative view would consider tourism as dynamic as part of a wider ecosystem. uh, Success in traditional view is measured by visitor number, visitor revenue, visitor satisfaction. Regenerative would be with well-being of people, communities, and places. And the worldview is traditional worldview is capitalist and growth-driven, whereas regenerative is about knowledge, wisdom of indigenous communities. Next, please. So, in regenerative tourism, tourism is a part of a broader system, one system nestled in many others, and focus on interdependence. Next, please. So, for the most significant thing is regenerative tourism is not about growth alone. the focus is on social and ecological values, and through investing in the well-being of people and places. Next, please. So I like this graphic very much, and I think it speaks a lot. And on the vertical axis, the arrow shows from movement from degenerating system to regenerating system, and the horizontal axis from more energy required on the left side to less energy required. So, our current tourism is somewhere at the bottom, pink area, conventional practice, just one step better than breaking the law. This is what the author thinks. I think in India, much of the tourism is functioning like submarines, and actually under the radar, breaking the law also. And then in tourism operators, hotels, lodges, even if they do a little bit, they call it green, just that, and they get that label. Sustainable tourism is that totality. There should be net zero uh, balance, and it should be neutral. So if you are damaging something, you should be bringing some kind of a benefit. And this is where the graph flips to the other side, and the top right quadrant is the connected with the restoration and regeneration. In restoration, the human beings are not just doing something right or not causing any damage, but they are actually helping nature heal. And regenerative tourism would be where humans participate as nature, and not as external to it. Next, please. So in the previous graph, the Dhela tourism zone would qualify as restorative but not regenerative. And so we gradually have this movement, physical knowledge of nature, and then inner concentric circle, personal connection to it, then the blue, our respect for it. But regenerative would be to reach the core where you start treating it as sacred and sacrosanct. Next, please. So I started this Jamria ecotourism, community-based ecotourism project in last year in May, and we held a stakeholder workshop of all the villages from the 3 revenue villages where people were living. And please notice this. The important thing is you ask this question: what does this place need? What does Jameria need? What does Baluli need? What does Sakar need? And what are the desires of the community? And then you come to that question, that how can tourism contribute towards meeting the needs of the places and the desires of the local community? So in this, one woman, she told me smilingly in the consultation. Unfortunately, she had work in the her household, so some of them had left before this picture was taking place. She said कि हमारे बस खेत बहाल कर दीजिए और गांव खुशहाल कर दीजिए. So, in one simple sentence, she asked something which would require a Hanumanji to do this in the context. Thank you. Next, please. So, in the consultation, there was group work, and this on the left side, top left picture, Kushag Meshram, he's doing his doctorate from North Carolina State University, and the forest staff from Chiptak Chowki. And so we did multiple exercises, participatory exercises, and you see me in the top right picture on the final day when we made a whole presentation to the villagers of all the outputs. On the left bottom is a map of the village drawn by the villagers, and bottom right is the group photograph of all the villagers and people who have come from outside, NGOs, WWF, and the investor from the Ramganga River Eco Lodge. Next, please. So Ramganga has a very panoramic view in this area, and on the top picture you see the Vanghat village. So all the pink area is where the Vanghat lodge is, and all the dark green area is where the Ramganga River Eco Lodge is going to be developed. And Bhanu Prabhat, who has purchased 12 acres of the land. Vangat Lodge is only on 4 acres. So he has decided to keep aside 5 acre of land and restore it as a corridor for tiger and elephant movement, and have a limited number of rooms developed in the remaining area. Next, please. So on the left side is a sketch map of the site, and on this barrage, because to reach the village you have to cross the river. You see Hitesh Mehta, a renowned landscape architect from Florida. He's a Gujarati of Kenyan origin. And on the right side you see discussion with WWF on Ramganga River at Marchula. Next, please. So, interestingly, not only Hitesh follows a sixth sense approach to his designing, and he has sometimes abandoned his project because he said that the land spoke to him that no tourism should come over there. But the villagers also, they have a deity called Bhumya Devta. So it's not a temple; it's just a sacred piece of land, a circular where they've put stones. You can see in this picture, and once in a year they assemble and worship the land. And here Hitesh Mehta also tried to pay his own obeisance to the land before beginning the project. Next, please. And no construction has started, but already 2 nurseries have been established. The lower bottom one is in Jamria village, and the top left one is in Vanghat. And even a student from Ambedkar University who completed his masters, he was recruited. And on the bottom right side, you can see how lantana has been removed and grass planting has been done during this monsoon. And on the top right is the whole architect team. And this picture was taken after the three of us, the investor Bhanu, Hitesh, architect, and myself, we planted 3 clumps of grasses. And I've worked for 37 years in forest department, but I found it very remarkable that I was planting a grass clump for the first time. Next, please. So recently, I had this opportunity to visit Mount Cuba Center, a garden where they are trying to save native plants of the Appalachian Piedmont. And Dr. Michael Blacketier, he's part of the team, and I wanted to meet him. And so the beautiful thing about there was that it's a garden developed over the last 60 years by the DuPont family on the private estate. But what they've done is that they don't have plants in beds. They have recreated habitats, streams, lakes, meadow. On the bottom left is a meadow, and top right is a stream. And it felt almost like a paradise. And they have potted native plants. So if anyone wants to purchase a native plant, they can purchase it, visitors. And it's a huge garden. So Mrs. DuPont, whoever she was, the president's wife, the whole place is littered with the letterboxes, like the one shown on bottom right. And if she had a word of compliment or some criticism, or she wanted a gardener to do something or suggest something, so since it was unlikely that she would meet the gardener, so she would leave notes in these uh, letterboxes. Next, please. So it's in Mount Cuba, I gained a totally different, new vision of ecological restoration, which I had never thought of earlier. And these are some of the initial steps taken with the village community in Jamria. They were taken to Choti Haldwani village. Rajesh Bhatt, who's the social coordinator for the project, speaking to the villagers about rural tourism in Choti Haldwani. And the villagers developed a village map. Professor Babu unveiled it, and then three groups of tourists visited the village, and the villagers took them for a cultural tour of the village, and also hosted a traditional lunch. And on the World Tourism Day, 2 days back, the director Corbett Tiger Reserve and DFO Kalagad, they also made a visit to the village and had a lengthy discussion, patient with the villagers about uh, 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 how to overcome some of their problems of livelihood and human wildlife conflict. Next, please. So I'm ending this by spelling out the vision that in the context of the Ramganga River Eco Lodge, what regenerative tourism means. It means having visitors ultimately to meet the costs that is being spent on the project, but also to enhance the river flow in the Ramganga River and enrich the forest and grasslands with native biodiversity. And in the context of Jamria village, it means revitalizing agriculture, restoring traditional houses, preserving cultural heritage, uh, limiting human wildlife conflict, and controlling one of the biggest problem of Uttarakhand, Palayan, hopefully have reverse migration, and bring life back into the villages with not only the older people or youth and children during holidays, summer holidays, but round the year. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Now we are open for the Q&A session. So if you have any questions, kindly drop in the chat box and we will go through it. So, sir, my first question is, sir, could you elaborate on how regenerative tourism contributes to achieving the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals and support biodiversity frameworks such as the Convention on Biological Diversity? Specifically, how can regenerative tourism practices help advance progress towards these global objectives? So you're mute. So you're mute.
You'll have to figure that out for yourself. But the important thing is that here, the starting point is not the United Nations goals. It is about listening what the land in Jamria, Baluli, and Sankar needs, and what the villagers in these places want. But I can assure you that in trying to do that, biodiversity conservation, community participation, and local well-being will automatically occur, meeting many of the goals enshrined in the international legislation. So the scale you are asking me to address at a global scale, and the project is it's not even at the level of Corbett Tiger Reserve or a range of Corbett Tiger Reserve or a forest division. It is at the scale of uh, a stretch of river of Lamganga. See, that is important. There is 6 kilometer stretch of Ramanga in that village, and you saw, and it is teeming with biodiversity: mahasher, otter, sirao, tigers, and wild elephants. And that is why I asked the villagers, and I said that, if your village is not atulya, then which village will be atulya? I don't think there would be many such villages on the face of earth which are so rich in terms of species diversity.
Agree with you, sir. Uh, Ankit Arya sir is mentioning usually in India's protected areas, lodge and resort owners are local people. He's asking this question, sir. तो जितने भी लॉज ओनर्स हैं वो क्या लोकल लाइट्स ही होते हैं?
See, India is a very vast country, and our uh, conditions in forget about protected areas, even different states are very different. But typically, establishing these lodges requires massive investment in crores of rupees. And yes, there can be local, but much of the investment comes from outside.
Uh, Thank you, sir. Apart from these questions, if you are willing to ask any questions with sir, then kindly drop it in the chat box. Any place or where regenerative tourism is practiced as of now, sir?
So, there is no perfect definition. So I would say that regenerative tourism, we can look at it as a spectrum. At one end is mass tourism and totally commercial, and at another end is regenerative tourism. Regenerative tourism is highly idealistic, and some people say almost impossible to achieve. But our effort can be to move from one direction to another direction. And that's why I began with the example that uh, uh, I was proud in showing uh, the tiger to the American group, but the pride was not because I had shown a tiger. The pride was that we had seen a tiger in an area which was completely ecologically unstable, weed covered area, where over 2 decades of uh, effort, this grassland had been developed, where today you find elephants and tigers around the year. What it means is that tourists need not go into the heart of the national park and tiger reserve for wildlife viewing. They can be satisfied in human created areas outside the reserve. And Mount Cuba Center, they had a different vision, and what you see over there has been developed over 6 decades. So these are slow processes.
So, any success story apart from Uttarakhand perception? Any successful model across world, so that I can gain more insights on it and learn about the how regenerative tourism we can implement and uh, what are the tools to implement the regenerative tourism.
See, the tools are nothing new. Uh, we are aware of it. We have been practicing also. The important thing is what question you ask, what is your purpose, and from where do you begin? And believe me, you just close your eyes for 5 minutes when you go to a place and for the first time where you want to launch a project, and just focus on your question, that what you think the land needs and what the people living over there want. And the answer itself will show you the way of where you should be heading. It's not a preconceived baggage. So we call something called mutual learning. So definitely we have skills and knowledge about policies, law, science, which the villagers don't have. But the understanding that they have and the emotional attachment that they have, uh, what binds the community together, it is that place. So the place has a character. The place gives them life. And that is why they worship the place. And so even in this Ramanga River Eco Lodge project, the architect had uh, provided for no construction in that site of Bhumia Devta, and in the master plan, and to continue to maintain its sacred nature, and with an option for villagers to regularly visit that area. But then I raised this question. I said that, just setting aside that land is not sufficient. You should be also carrying out the worship and the practice in the traditional way. And so from next year, all villagers will be assembled, invited, and a proper worship in Bhumia Devta in Manghat will be revived as a practice.
So it's sometimes I can relate it with like being an emotionally intelligent person and connecting with nature. and as well as the community for the betterment and for the upliftment of that local area. So the regenerative tourism definitely playing a very important role when it comes to connecting with the local communities and the biodiversity for the upliftment of that area and educating everyone around us, because we the tourists like we go there for a 1 or 2 days, but the impact we leave it for the lifelong time. So as you know, the news coming up for the mass tourism in Uttarakhand and the destruction we are facing here, I think this is the high time when we shift towards the regenerative tourism. So any
So,
yes,
so
sir.
like for example, हम हमेशा कहते हैं, बचपन से हमें सिखाया गया है कि धरती हमारी माता है, पर क्या हम उसे माता मानते हैं? तो यहाँ पे क्या हमारे जब चरण पड़ते हैं, तो हम ये सोचते हैं कि हम अपनी माता के ऊपर चरण कर रहे हैं। तो हमने उसे एक तरीके से उस विचार को केवल ज़ुबान पे रख दिया है, एक्सटर्नलाइज़ कर दिया है। तो यहाँ पे ये है कि आप एक वो सेंसिटिविटी अपने अंदर लाएँ, जब आप कुछ करें कि ये मैं जो कर रहा हूँ ये एक बोझा होगा इसके ऊपर। तो चलो मुझे करना है, लेकिन मैं उस बोझे को कम से कम करूँ, या बोझ को हल्का करने के लिए मैं क्या कर सकता हूँ?
वेरी ट्रू सर। आई थिंक हमारे पास और क्वेश्चंस नहीं है, तो sir would like to go with that vote of thanks session. Thank you so much sir for taking out your precious time and हम सबको रीजनरेटिव टूरिज्म में एजुकेट करने के लिए, प्लस आपका एक्सपीरियंस हमारे साथ शेयर करने के लिए, और जो पिक्चर्स प्रेजेंटेशन थी उससे हमारा एक वर्चुअल टूर हो गया, एक ट्रिप हो गया। हम कॉर्बेट इन पर्सन तो अभी विजिट नहीं कर पाए, बट डेफिनेटली फोटोज के थ्रू हमने एक वर्चुअल ट्रिप लिया और उस प्लेस को फील किया। एंड देन फॉर वेरी श्योर हम सब एक सेंसिबल टूरिज्म बन के ऐसे प्लेसेस पे विजिट करेंगे और वहाँ के लोकलाइट्स प्लस वहाँ की बायोडाइवर्सिटी का सेम रिस्पेक्ट वे में एक कनेक्शन बनाकर वहाँ एंजॉय करके आएंगे। एंड वी हैव डॉक्टर धनंजय मोहन सर एज वेल विद अस। I think he is there. He was attending the session. Uh, so with this, sir, would you like to share something? Like, so please unmute. So please unmute. Yes, sir.
Uh, sir, morning, sir, Bhartri, sir,
गुड
and
मॉर्निंग।
uh, I could only listen to the last bit of your talk. I am traveling, so suddenly I checked my WhatsApp and saw that it's there. I had thought that I'll attend, but I could see last 6 7 slides also. And anyway, I had discussed this a little bit at your home also. So I'm very familiar, but it's a wonderful idea that you talked about regenerative tourism, because we've been talking about just ecotourism for a very long time. I think it's time that we upscale it to a next level, and nothing better than this if we can do it. Thank you very much, sir, for sharing your ideas, and thank you, Ria, for arranging this. Yeah, okay.
Thank you so much,
So,
sir.
सो बिफोर वी एंड आई जस्ट वांटेड टू से कि आप सभी लोग you are invited to visit the village and Marchula area, and it's part of buffer area, but it's no less rich. And वहाँ के गांव वालों का कहना है कि आप आइए घर में, हम रखेंगे आपको, और हम 6 बजे के बाद अपने दरवाजे बंद कर देते हैं, और हमारी कोई भी खिड़की खोल करके अगर आप टॉर्च से बाहर डालें तो आपको सिर्फ आंखें ही आंखें दिखाई देंगी। So we took a group of tourists around, and uh, 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 so we could feel the presence of two tigers in the vicinity of the village. So most welcome.
For sure, sir. We will definitely plan this trip. And thank you so much, sir, for this session. And again, thank you everyone for joining us today and making this event successful and very interesting as well. So